I'm Lee First, your Twin Harbors waterkeeper.
And we're going to take you on a tour of Fry Creek. So as you can see, the whole watershed is below us down here. And we'll start up in the headwaters in these foothills off to our left.
And then we'll take you on a tour of various stops all the way down to the Grays Harbor estuary. Fry Creek is a small stream. It's a salmon stream, and it runs through sections of Aberdeen and Hoquiam and empties out in Grays Harbor in the marine waters. And we'll notice this is our first stop up in the headwaters, and the creek is stunning here. It's a healthy creek. It's got native vegetation all around. It's got large wood in the stream, and it's great salmon habitat. So we're going to take a journey from here downstream, and we're going to notice how this stream changes as it makes its way about 3 miles to Grays Harbor.
There's some wonderful large woody debris that makes great habitat for salmon. So our adult salmon come up our streams, they spawn, they lay their eggs, and then those eggs hatch out to become alvin and then fry. And those fry, as they're swimming down our streams, they eat macroinvertebrates. That's one of their food sources. The macroinvertebrates are super important to their life cycle. And this creek has wonderful amounts of macroinvertebrates. We found here a right-handed snail, which indicates great water quality. So good stream for salmon. Should be happy in here. Lots of great habitat.
Hi, I'm Brian Pickering. I work for Grays Harbor PUD. Fry Creek flows down through our campus, not too far from where we're standing here today. I grew up just a couple of blocks away from this creek and explored it quite a bit as a child, and even as long as 20 years ago I can remember seeing salmon here in the creek and watching them spawn.
We're seeing lots of beautiful native vegetation that's surrounding us. So here is one of the natives that we are seeing next to the stream. This is miner's lettuce. It has this beautiful pink flower on it. You may not be able to see it, but this was eaten by miners back in the gold rush. It was one of the first things to pop up in the spring, and it contains lots of vitamin C, so it's really good for you.
And we're continuing our journey down Fry Creek. We started in the headwaters, and now we're where Fry Creek comes into a large wetland, and then from here it flows through the industrial part of Aberdeen and Hoquiam. But here we're in a wetland. We can see what used to be part of a beaver dam, and we saw a bunch of beaver-chewed trees and shrubs on the way in here, and we love beavers. Beavers are fantastic for clean water. They slow the water down. They the dams filter out sediment. They help groundwater recharge, and that really helps our fish, and it helps the overall stream health. We're in kind of the residential area along Fry Creek, although it's hard to tell. There are houses here past the hedges, and so one thing that people in neighborhoods can do to help keep this creek clean is to pay attention to their storm drains. So all through this neighborhood there are catch basins, storm drains, and all the stormwater, or the rain that hits the impervious surfaces, gets collected into the stormwater system and goes directly to Fry Creek without any treatment at all. So if you're hyper aware of what is on the street, like try to keep your pavement areas clean. You know, never put oil or paint out in open containers. Just really pay attention to what's on your impervious surfaces, because all that water gets washed into the storm drain system and ends up here. And so the cleaner you can keep your property, the cleaner Fry Creek will be. And remember, only rain down the storm drain. Meeting with Jeremy today. He's from the street and stormwater utility with the city of Aberdeen, and this is their beautiful street sweeper. How many miles of creek or streets do you sweep here? About
Probably about 30 miles every 2 to 3 months.
Oh wow. How does it work?
That's so all the rooms will stir up all the material and they'll put it in a row right in the middle of it where there's a vacuum that sucks it all up into the big tank.
Oh yeah. Regular sweeping keeps tire particles, brake dust, and oil and grease out of the water. Clean streets, clean streams. Thank you for keeping the streets clean.
Thank you.
Jeremy.
Thanks for having me.
We are standing underneath the deck of the Fry Creek pump station. So on this side we have Fry Creek. Here we have the pump station where water is lifted up out of the creek and pushed out towards the estuary.
So, why is a pump station needed here?
A pump station is needed to prevent flooding in the city. A quick description of how Fry Creek interacts with the cities of Aberdeen and Hoquiam. So, as Lee mentioned, it comes down through the hills, and then the Fry Creek needs to cross a pretty large stretch of the city of Aberdeen. It's a very low, very flat area. It's in the coastal floodplain. So throughout the portion of the city adjacent to the creek, there are stormwater catch basins. Those catch basins collect stormwater that's hitting the city surface. It goes into the catch basins, into pipes, and those pipes empty into Fry Creek. So to think of it really basically, when Fry Creek is high, those catch basins and stormwater systems don't work so well. So what this pump station does is it keeps those water levels low so that the stormwater systems work, and also so that the creek itself doesn't overtop its banks and flood the city. So there are proposed projects on this creek to restore it and to reduce flooding. And the great thing is that those two goals go hand in hand. You do the same project to achieve both goals. And the basic idea is to widen the creek. So a side note is that historically this creek had a lot of width. It had a lot of ability to flood and to change course. Over time it's been filled in, and basically it's just a chute. So what a restoration project does is, one of the things it does is it widens out the creek. It gives it benches to flood. It gives it additional volume and storage area. So portions of this creek that are now highly constricted, restoration will widen it. As Lee mentioned, there are portions of this creek that are completely underground in pipes. Restoration will remove the pipe and restore the creek to a creek.
And I'm down here today. We're very close to the area where Fry Creek discharges to Grays Harbor, to the marine waters. So you can see here, the creek has been straightened, channelized, and is nothing at all like what it was up in the headwaters. So we're at low tide now. Fish are able to make it through the large culvert that we're going to visit next. But you can imagine that when there's a lot of rain, this area is very challenging for fish to make it up because, well, there's no habitat here. There's no wood in the stream. There's no meander. There's no refugia for fish. So this is kind of like running a gauntlet. Thank you so much for coming on this virtual tour of Fry Creek with us. We're here at the estuary now. You can see where the outlet of Fry Creek is, in that pipe culvert. And then you can also see Grays Harbor Estuary.
So thank you so very much for watching. We hope you learned something. And it's important to take care of our streams.